ago in Jewish Christian culture, there was basically one set of rules to follow: absolutely no sex before marriage. The penalty for violating this rule was anything from mandatory immediate marriage to death. Women who lost their virginity before marriage were shunned by society and no longer sought after for marriage. There was, for the most part, no such thing as dating 2,000 years ago. Today we have the luxury of dating and getting to know someone before committing to marriage. This is something we all take for granted as Christians living in the free world. And not unlike so many other privileges we now believe are our rights, this luxury has become perverted and abused by our society. We have come to believe that there's nothing wrong with sleeping around and sowing one's wild oats. Our friends do it, everyone on TV does it, our music promotes it, and everyone just sort of accepts it as normal. Heck, love doesn't even need to be involved anymore when it comes to sex. So at this point, I am simply going to state the obvious. As a Christian, sex of any kind outside of marriage is not pleasing to God and is a sin. Do not assume such behavior will go unnoticed or punished by God just because our society finds it acceptable. In addition to disappointing God, premarital sex usually leads to something called soul ties. Soul ties are what we call that piece of your heart or spirit that is attached to your sexual partner pretty much forever. Soul ties can be very difficult, if not impossible, to break. Someday you will probably be happily married, but your heart will keep going back to a different person you once dated that you formed a soul tie with. Not good. At the very least, it will make it difficult for you to fully spiritually bond with your future husband or wife. And to be perfectly honest, soul ties can be formed without sexual contact as well. And this is why it is important to guard your heart while dating. Ask God to help you to avoid temptation and soul ties with people when you date. Ladies, make no mistake, most men want to get in your pants and that might be their only goal. Giving it up for a guy will in no way ensure that he's going to love you or stay in a relationship with you. And everyone, keep this in mind if you're considering sexually loose behavior. Not only will you be angering God, but you'll also be doing a lot of spiritual and emotional damage to the people that you're using. In addition to this, do not talk or act or dress in a manner that is obviously intended to lead yourself and your date into sin. Ladies, I know we all like to look attractive, but it can be taken too far. Be aware of what you are advertising with your appearance, words, and actions. And men, please do not tempt women with false affection and attention. No one likes to feel heartbreak, so be careful not to break someone else's heart if you can avoid it. Also be aware that drugs and too much alcohol can send all of your best intentions right out the window and can lead to a dangerous situation. Be on your guard and plan ahead to avoid temptation and bad or dangerous situations when you date. Related to the issue of soul ties is also codependency. People with low self-esteem tend to look to others for their security and value. It is my observation that people who are not confident in who they are or do not see themselves as valuable without a girlfriend or boyfriend by their side are at a greater risk of getting into and staying in abusive relationships and at a greater risk for developing soul ties. Guard your hearts and find your value in God first, not in who you date. It is not possible to have a healthy relationship with someone else if you do not first love yourself. Doing these things does not guarantee you will never be hurt by someone you date, but it will lay a foundation for a good marriage blessed by God in your future and help you to avoid critical, painful mistakes while dating. Let's face it, eventually you're probably going to marry one of the people you date. And bad people can manipulate your head and your heart if you let them. So compile a red flag list. This is a list of qualities that once noticed should equal you getting out of the relationship. Some examples might be greediness, anger, violence, self-centeredness, drug or alcohol abuse, loose behavior, or anti-Christianity. No matter how hot you think a person looks or how much money they have, which are a few reasons why people would date such a person, your relationship will not go well for long and might even be a danger to you if they possess any of the evil red flag traits. My dark ravens, you just can't change people by dating or marrying them, no matter how good your intentions are. Also be aware that dating someone who is not a Christian is also risky. In the short term, they might lead you astray and pull you away from God. In the long term, you could end up marrying them, which could lead to a whole new set of very big problems, especially if you have children. And I ask you to pray about it and think it over before taking the risk of dating a non-believer. Say a prayer every night for your future husband or wife. Ask God to bless them, protect them, and bring the two of you together when God's time is right. This should give you greater patience and peace through the dating process and single years of your life. That's all for today. God bless and have a great week.